So, I'm going to be sharing something today that makes me feel a little vulnerable, both from the sense of sharing about my past, but also in the direction I am taking forward that feels like soul purpose. I'm going to be talking about the power of sexual alchemy, sexual transmutation, and essentially sex magic. If you have been on a journey of healing, if you have reached a place where you are reconnected to your body, reconnecting the heart and mind, and looking to go deeper, looking to step into more advanced manifestation techniques, this video is for you. When I was a child, I had a lot of sexual energy. I remember being very young and already touching myself, realizing the feelings that came with touching myself, enjoying the feelings that came with touching myself, being curious about my body, being curious about other people's bodies, playing games that now I know probably weren't all that great. But I guess that I didn't have the best upbringing in terms of communication with my parents, connection with my parents, their oversight of what I was doing. And yeah, you do what you do when you do it with what you know, and it's this unfamiliar place, childhood, right? We're always exploring. I also know that those sensations made me feel good, and feeling good was something that I was seeking to feel. We had a lot of stress growing up. There was a lot of pressure on my parents that would come through to us as kids. And I think that early masturbation was my first attempts at escapism. So even though I was connecting to a feeling in my body, chasing the orgasms, multiple orgasms that I would create, actually, ultimately, took me out of my body. As I grew up, I noticed now in reflection that again I would seek that being outside of myself. I would seek company from boys to fill the void that I was feeling inside. That company made me feel safe, it made me feel held, and if that came at the sacrifice of giving myself away when perhaps I shouldn't have, I was okay with that at the time. And again, I enjoyed the feeling, I enjoyed the experiences. Getting a little bit older again, I guess, I began to feel quite shameful about that sexual energy. My father called me promiscuous. He didn't like the fact that I had company of boys. And I guess that I tried to become monogamous. Believed that being with one person was best, but actually found myself in longer term relationships that weren't healthy either. I then had an experience in 2004 that disconnected me from sex and my body altogether. I was drug raped, and again I felt a lot of shame about this because my like of being out of the moment had continued. I was still drinking too much, I was partying too much, I was probably having sex too much, but actually on this night I was completely sober. I'd made a conscious choice not to drink, because I was in an unfamiliar place, and for whatever reason, I was the person that night this other person chose to take advantage of. I've done a lot of reflection on this incident in my life, and I know that I manifested it from a place of powerlessness. Ultimately, the trauma of growing up with the stress that we had, with the disconnection I felt between me and my parents, with the conditioning that we had, it all led me to that place of powerlessness. And that is why I manifested the ultimate position of powerlessness. But in a positive sense, it was the beginning of the journey to now, where I have reclaimed my power. And in sexual transmutation, it is the ultimate reclaiming of power. And I'm excited in this video to help you to do that, and to do it in a healthy way, in a way that does help you to manifest what you have been dreaming of, but also manifest the life that was meant for you as well. So why would this advanced practice of sex magic manifest a life that was always meant for you? This is where we really get into the crux of things. Your journey with sex magic will begin with, or will catalyze, the awakening of your kundalini, the ignition of your serpent fire. For me, the kundalini awakening came after the spiritual awakening. It was from a journey of reconnecting to my body, reconnecting to my breath. I began journeying with breath work. I regulated my nervous system. I began to journey in my alpha mind. I connected with shamanism. I'll never forget when my kundalini awoke. I believe it happened during a breathwork ceremony. I felt this intense feeling of sexual energy. In my mind, I was journeying through a rebirth. I actually felt myself born again. I felt the pain of the squeeze through my mother's womb. I then went through this incredible reliving of experiences in my life through these innocent eyes, and saw my life in ways that I had never seen it the first time around. And all the time, the sexual energy was building and ascending. And then I had this incredible experience of orgasm that felt like every single cell in my body was orgasming at the same time. And then this explosion of white energy, just the whitest, brightest light. I felt like I could die in that moment and be happy. I didn't know this was my kundalini awakening. What I started to experience after that was the most insane sexual craving. It was like I couldn't walk past a street post without wanting to rub up against it. I was masturbating like crazy. I was in a place of celibacy with my ex-husband, and yet I was wanting to sleep with everybody I saw, male and female. It was insane. I've never experienced anything like it. And this is the thing about this kundalini awakening. You have to be informed. This beautiful process of taking you from these animalistic desires to superhuman. And this is where we've got to move this energy. We've got to learn to move this energy up from the pelvis into your pineal gland. So the serpent is coiled at the base of your spine. And when this serpent fire ignites, it uncoils and through direction travels up through a channel or nadi in our etheric body called the Sushumna. And this is a channel that goes right up the middle. And when you're doing breath work, if you have tried my breath works, I'm guiding you after breath retention to move your energy up this channel, to focus on moving the energy up through your spine, and to see this explosion of white light at the top. This is a subtle channel. This is like part of your subtle body. And as the kundalini rises through this channel, it reaches each of the chakras. And this energy passes through the chakras. And as it passes through the chakras, it's actually awakening and vitalizing the chakra. It is effectively burning through the dross in each chakra. We know that each chakra holds wisdom in our body. We know that the heart chakra is the place where we open to love. We know that the solar plexus is where we move into a place of self-worth, self-esteem, confidence. And so in spiritual awakening, we will be working with these chakras. We will be wanting to activate the awakening of each one, the wisdom of each one, and opening that channel for energy to flow up into the higher energy centers, into higher consciousness. Because in the lower consciousness, we are in the animalistic desire. We are where I was when that kundalini originally awakened, wanting to fuck everything, wanting to feel orgasm, wanting to chase an outcome, unaware of the power that this serpent fire holds. And this power and this experience and the kundalini awakening, it's very representative of how you might be living your life right now. Stuck in the lower consciousness, you might be driven on a daily basis, automatically and unconsciously, by your animalistic desire, by your lust, by your need. It will be driving you to the things that make you feel full, that make you feel safe, that make you feel validated. And it will all be those short-term gains, like an orgasm. Feels amazing, but once you have it, it's over. It's gone. Having the dopamine hit from picking up your phone and seeing a follower or a like is gone. You know, having the alcoholic drink, getting the buzz, but then it's gone. And on the other side, there's always a downside, right? There is the come down. And effectively, that's what you're getting as well when you're not channeling this energy up through your body. You're getting a come down. For men, ejaculation drains the body. The yogis say that the semen is the life force, and once you expend it, it's gone. For a woman, it's quite different. We have the same experience through our menstrual periods, which again, you know, the yogis would change the diet so that, you know, really go to low protein, vegan, to make those periods go away, because each time we bleed, essentially that is our life force being drained. And once the life force is gone, it's gone, right? We look to the Chinese approach of, or the Chinese view of the Jing, the Qi, and the Shen. The Jing is the life force. The Qi is the energy that flows from this life force, and it ascends to Shen, which is the illumination, the higher energy. So all of these principles are the same. There is a source of energy. There is a flow of energy. There is an upward direction of this energy, and there is illumination from ascending this energy into the higher chakras. This animalistic desire, lust, need, that is outwards and downwards. It is from a place of lack. It is uncontrolled. It is addictive. It is draining. And this is where we have to gain the personal qualities necessary to control it. A big part of my spiritual awakening has been discipline and obedience in many ways. Obviously, initially this was discipline to sit in ritual. If you go to my free app on iOS and Google Android, search for the Awakened Wealth app, or go down into the description and click through the link, you'll see that I created a ritual of 7 practices.
Squeeze it up your spine
every
and
day,
feel energy moving
sitting
the
down in ritual
cerebrospinal
7
fluid
times,
up
just for
into
7
your
minutes,
midbrain.
and this was
Hold
my
your breath
initial
at the top. Squeeze that energy there.
I then began to become more disciplined about my nutrition and my purification. And then I moved more into this obedience to spirit from this practice of connecting and listening and hearing the wisdom. I had to become in dynamic receptivity with it. I had to start responding. We're all here on this planet for a purpose. And when we lean into unconditional love, we start to see that purpose unfold. But it takes us responding. So really, this is not just a case of transmutation of energy up through all your chakras. There is so much more that comes with that. Overcoming the animalistic desire. When your kundalini awakens and you feel all that sexual energy, you can't sit and watch porn and do something with it. You've got to learn to channel it, hold it, expand your capacity to hold it, which is where breathwork is so powerful, not just in the directing of this energy, but also in holding the capacity to feel both the good feelings and the bad feelings. It is about making hard decisions, because the gifts that the earth gives you regarding how you move forward in your life will feel uncomfortable. They will probably include some sacrifice, and you have to be obedient to that. Know that you are divinely guided and supported and being taken in a direction that is not just for your highest good, but for the highest good of all, and to walk that path. And you have to learn to harness this creative energy. That is what you have ultimately, is this beautiful store of creative energy that once you learn to transmute it, you get to create a third energy. So you ultimately have these crossing serpents. As you look at the old diagrams, coming up the spine, ultimately coming up into the heads of these snakes on either side of your face. And I've actually felt in these experiences both sides of my lips start to quiver. And I'll often channel when this quivering starts, but people have talked about feeling the drips of this life force dripping down their face. It's insane, but the energy must come up between this channel, right? There is these 2 subtle channels either side of your sushumna, and they are also nadis. You have the Ida, which is your lunar nadi, and you have your Pingala, which is the solar nadi. So essentially we have this masculine, feminine energy. We have this dance of these snakes. And when we have sacred union of any masculine, feminine energy, we create a third energy, right? And again, the animalistic desire is for orgasm or to procreate. And society has conditioned us that sex is for those 2 things only, not this higher level of consciousness, not this universal consciousness, connection to divine, illumination of how we progress humanity, how we move ourselves into these incredible states of bliss, peacefulness, this insane feeling that you are one with God. That God essence is everywhere, vibrates in everything. We all have access to it, only we've been taught to believe that God is outside of us and God is this, important thing that is written about in scriptures and Bibles and whatever, but it's not. And when you begin this journey, which has to involve the sexual alchemy, so confronting your beliefs about sex, your traumas around sex, this was where my journey also went to. From the Kundalini awakening, I was very blessed to attract somebody into my life that helped me to experience the things that I feared, continues to help me to evolve in many ways. And this was a necessary part to let go of shame. I felt that I didn't just let go of my shame, I let go of collective woman's shame, of being a woman, of having these menstrual periods, of being sexual, being sexualized, sex being perversed. So much came up, and I was able to heal so much. I was able to heal experiences where I'd been outside of my power in these sexual encounters. I was strangled when I was raped. I was able to overcome that. Sexual alchemy brings you back to this place of love and trust. You cannot experience sexual transmutation unless you have absolute unconditional love and trust. So these have to be part of your journey. I want you to be feeling in now where you are placing conditions on love and don't trust, because we have to work on these things before we move into these advanced practices of sexual transmutation. So now, to finish this video, I do want to give you some practices to begin to connect with this energy, to begin to connect with the divine, to bring yourself into a state of balance, awareness, connection to your body, consciousness. The true meaning of yoga is to unite. So when we feel into yoga, what are we doing? We are moving the body, we are focusing on the breath, and we are in absolute clear consciousness. Yoga helps us to let go of thought by focusing on the breath and by moving the body, by slowing down, regulating the nervous system. It's super powerful. I'm going to be giving you 7 practices right now. There must be something about the number 7. And if you're keen on my app, please do jump down into the description, get that app. It is a free app that comes with my book, which is called Awakening Your Miracle Frequency. It's easier than you think to have it all. And it tells you about my entire journey to here. My journey of healing, of reconnecting to the truth of myself, my God essence, and really stepping onto the path of divine will. In that free app is your first practice. It is called reduced breathing. It is on the app underneath the reduced breathing section, and it's called the coherence breath, and that is exactly what we're doing. We are breathing in a rhythm with a reduced breath that allows the nervous system to regulate and for your energetic resonance to come into harmony. We breathe in for 4 through the nose. We breathe out through the mouth for 8. And then we hold for 4. And we go again. You're going to do this for 7 minutes, and I recommend to do it 3 times a day, to start with that on the app and to do that for 3 times for 7 minutes for at least a week, just to notice how you feel differently, how your stress levels move, how you feel reconnected to your body, how time seems to open up, and how you begin to manifest more. A second really important thing is staying away from porn and masturbation. You have to begin to drop these animalistic desires. This also could include putting flight mode onto your phone for an extended period of the day, having pockets of time where you choose to look at your phone and then having it in flight mode in between, so you're not constantly getting that dopamine hit. This could be staying away from alcohol or any mind-altering substance. We have to have you back into your body. This is where I come into the third practice, which will help you with this. Fasting. Begin to bring a fast into your week. It doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be super long. But in the staying away from food, not only are we purifying the body, which is going to help you to move this sexual energy, we're connecting with our emotions. We're not distracting ourselves with the food we put in our mouth, which is the first thing we do, right? When we feel something, we will numb it, even just automatically because it's lunchtime with food. Having that extended space to feel is really powerful, because you will be able to feel what is actually coming up. You can then sit with the coherence breath and allow those feelings to move. Don't label them, observe them, let them go. This is where we begin to use the body as an alchemical container. You have everything that you need in ancient wisdom within your body to move emotion, to heal. I call this unconscious alchemy. We don't need to have all of this heavy talking stuff. But again, it's something that we're conditioned to believe we need. The fourth practice is a really important practice of really coming back to the body and investing a few minutes a day in looking at yourself, naked in a mirror, and feeling yourself. This is how we stir that sexual energy. And we remember that it's not there to go fuck somebody or to masturbate, but it's to feel, to move, to wind, to dance, to enjoy. Both men and women can and should do this. We all have this divine feminine energy within us, and it will have its unique expression in you. But if you do have sexual trauma, you're likely disconnected from your body right now. You're likely numbing yourself out. You are likely in unhealthy habits like masturbation. Instead of self-pleasure, there is nothing wrong with bringing yourself to a heightened state of feeling. For men, it's recommended that you don't ejaculate. But for women, these orgasms are okay if they are created through love, self-pleasure, and in a pure and beautiful way. So for the next few days, feel into that. Standing in front of the mirror, perhaps when you get out of the shower, remembering yourself, touching yourself, dancing with yourself, becoming playful, remembering the innocence of love. Not this shameful experience I had as a child, connecting to my body and then feeling embarrassed of it, feeling like there was something wrong with me, feeling used in those sexual experiences, feeling out of my power. The next practice is remembering your connection to God. Remember, God vibrates through all. Everything is one. And a beautiful practice to do this you can bring into your morning ritual, where you can sit yourself down, begin with some gentle breaths, and just becoming aware of the 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. Feeling your place in the middle, held by divine. Knowing that each of these directions is connected with an element, and feeling those elements, allowing those elements to connect you to your entire being, your mental space, your physical body, your emotional state, and your connection to divine. As you feel these 4 directions, feel into the elements of air, water, fire, earth, and allow each one to help you navigate through these parts of yourself and almost assess where each one is at. What does your body need today? How does your body feel? Should you invest in some yoga today? Stretch your body out. Are you feeling the need for a warm bath or a massage? Some self-love. You can assess your mental state. Where are your thoughts at? Air. Mental. Feeling into clearing your mind if it's busy. Water, emotion. Where are your emotions at? What are you really feeling? And fire. Connection to divine. Feel that oneness. Feel that unity. These final two practices, practice 6 and practice 7, are a way of actually beginning to channel this sexual energy up through your sushumna. The first one is to become aware of the energy. I call this filling the bowl. So if you imagine you have a bowl in the base of your belly, almost in that sacral area, and we can pull the pelvic floor muscles in. We can squeeze as if we're holding our urine. And as we breathe with the pelvic floor tight, imagine that we're channeling this energy into the bowl. We're filling up the bowl. Allow that bowl to fill. And then as you exhale through the mouth, just noticing the energy flowing up through that channel in the center of the body, up to the pineal gland, into the crown chakra, and then beginning again. So do this in a rhythm. Do this slowly, do this with deep focus, and focus on feeling the energy. Fill the bowl, spill out the bowl, and move up that channel. The yogis used this 7th practice as a way of beginning to spark that energy. The idea is, I'll describe it, it's alternate nostril breathing. So you place your thumb over your right nostril, you place your finger in the middle, your middle finger across your third eye, and then you block off the other nostril with your ring finger. I've got mine over my nose now, which is why I sound like this. But you're going to take the thumb off and you're going to breathe through the one nostril. And then you hold it at the top. Take the other finger off the other nostril, close the other one down. And as you exhale, you're imagining the energy go back down the channel. And you're imagining it sparking that coiled serpent at the base of your spine. And then again, you're going to breathe out that same nostril. And you're going to imagine that energy coming up through the other side of your body, back up again to the third eye where you're going to hold it, and then you're going to take off the other finger and you're going to breathe out through the other nostril. And again, imagine that energy going down, sparking that snake, awakening that fire, igniting that serpent fire. We've actually got our nervous system channels on either side of the spine as well, so this is a very calming, grounding practice. It is going to help you with reduced breathing. It is going to create coherence, and it's also connected to your brain as well. So you're waking up different parts of your brain by using this alternate nostril breathing. Wow, I do think that I have talked enough for now. I really hope this video has been helpful. It is the second video in a series that is all around manifestation, moving into these advanced manifestation techniques. The first video is about learning to vibrate at the frequency of manifestation. I will put the video link in the end credits. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please put them down below. I will enjoy reading those. And if you would like to join my free Awakened Wealth community, please jump into that link in the description. Come join us over there. Deepen your manifestation practice, become connected with a community of people doing the same. You can also check out my podcast, Mayu, where I connect with the mentors, influencers, and resources that can really help you to step into this beautiful place of self-mastery and ascension. The link for the podcast is below. Wishing you the most beautiful day. Bye-bye.